Hello, my name is Stephen Shott. I'm a woodwind teacher with the Music Service, and this video is entitled The Saxophone, How It Works. You may be watching because you're interested in taking up the saxophone, or you may already be playing and you want to understand more about your instrument. I hope that whatever your starting point is, this video will further whet your appetite for developing your saxophone playing and knowledge. When we talk about the saxophone, we actually mean a family of saxophones. There's a number of different size saxophones making up the saxophone family. The smallest being a soprano saxophone, about the size of a dinner plate, to the contrabass saxophone. Now you need to search that out on Google. Have a look at those. The most common, however, are the quartet of saxophones from soprano down to alto, tenor and baritone. For the purpose of this video, we're going to be looking at some of the more popular saxophones that you might come across. This saxophone is the soprano saxophone. It's the smallest of the more popular saxophones. It's in the key of B flat, and it sounds like this. The next saxophone down in size is the alto saxophone, possibly the more common one because of its convenient size. It's fairly easy for young people to get to grips with this. It's not too difficult to blow and it's not too heavy to carry around. So this is the alto saxophone. It's in the key of E flat and it sounds like this. The next size up from the alto is the tenor saxophone. You can see a significant step up in size. Not really the best for a young beginner to start on, quite simply because of its size and weight. And it's in the key of B flat, like the soprano. Here's what the tenor saxophone sounds like. The saxophone is the most recent member of the traditional woodwind family, having been invented in 1840 by a Belgian instrument maker called Adolphe Sax, hence the name saxophone. The saxophone is a development, or some may say hybrid, of pre-existing wind instruments. At its most basic level, it could be considered to be an overgrown version of the recorder. Now, the recorder makes its sound by just blowing through the top, and it has an area here that splits the air, creating the vibration. Of course, as I blow down it, I have to cover the holes with my fingers. And the sound will go lower. So if you've already played recorder, you already have some knowledge that you can transfer to the saxophone. Unlike the recorder, the saxophone uses a single cane reed attached to a mouthpiece. That's attached to the mouthpiece by the use of something similar to this. This is a ligature. You get different types of ligature made out of different materials, but that's probably for another video, another time. The ligature connects the reed to the mouthpiece. So I'll just do that. We have to line up reed and mouthpiece. Like so, so it's level with the sides, level with the top. And then I tighten up that ligature nice and tight. Now, because the reed is quite delicate, made out of bamboo, carefully shaped, carefully prepared to get the best sound, best vibration material, the best vibrational qualities. So we have to blow it in a specific way. We put our bottom lip over the bottom teeth. The top teeth are going to come down and just sit on the mouthpiece, not too far up, not too far back. And we close our mouth, keep our cheeks in, and blow the sound. I'm going to take a good breath first, even though I'm just playing this very small instrument as it is at the moment. So I'm going to take a deep breath because that's going to be important later. So I'm taking a nice deep breath, preparing my mouth. And I get a squeaky sound, not the most attractive sound. It's only when we put it on the instrument, of course, that it's going to improve that quality. The single reed on the mouthpiece arrangement is very similar to that found on the clarinet. So if you've played clarinet before, then that's a great introduction to be able to play the saxophone. You can make that transition fairly straightforwardly. Now, the clarinet and the recorder, of course, are usually made of wood or plastic, but the saxophone is made of brass, like a trumpet or trombone. Hence, some people mistake it for a member of the brass family. The weight and shape of the saxophone means that you need a strap or a sling, actually, to help you take the weight of the instrument, and that's attached to the saxophone like so. And it's adjustable for height by sliding up or sliding down the strings. It's important that the instrument will just swing to your mouth without any further adjustment. You don't want to be lifting it or trying to pull it down. It should just be comfortable. As you just push the saxophone away from your body, the mouthpiece swings to your mouth. And it's this combination of woodwind properties of mouthpiece and reed and the manufacturing out of brass that give the saxophone its distinctive sound. But as with the other woodwind instruments, you use our fingers on keys or buttons in order to change the notes. The more fingers we add, the lower the sound goes. I'm just going to start at the top of the saxophone. the sound is going deeper and deeper. And as I take the fingers back off, now if we need higher notes, then we have to add the octave key. We have a key on the back. It's operated by the thumb. That's going to change all our lower notes into notes 1 octave higher. The energy that makes the saxophone work is, of course, our breath. Without good breath control, we will not be able to get the full range of notes on the instrument. So developing good breath support is the most important thing we can do. So you want to breathe in through your nose. You'll feel your tummy muscles tighten up against your belt line. The diaphragm inside below your lungs relaxes, allowing your lungs to expand like balloons within your chest cavity and to take up that space just underneath where the diaphragm was. Now you've got pressure that you can put on or press or blow in order to get the air coming out at a constant rate. You don't want that rate of air to change. So if I take a nice deep breath, I'm just going to put my first finger on. It's the note B on the saxophone. Good breath. My tummy muscles have tightened up against the belt line. My chest has expanded. My shoulders are down. And so on. Now we want to be able to split up our long notes into shorter sounds. And we do this with the use of the tongue. So the tongue has to operate onto the reed. So if you imagine there's my top teeth on the top of the mouthpiece, my thumb is my tongue. As I want a sound, my tongue just goes onto the reed. The air pressure is built up behind it, and ta, as I release, then the air goes down and creates the note, and ta, 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 ta. The faster I want the sound, the quicker I want to start the sounds, then the quicker I use the tongue. Let's demonstrate that. Again, just playing a B, but I'm on the alto saxophone now, so I'm adjusting the sling, swinging to my mouth just right. Okay, my breath, shoulders down, tummy muscles taut, chest expanded, tongue goes onto the reed. So, lots of rhythmical combinations possible by the use of the tongue. Now we can incorporate the tonguing with, of course, slurring, moving legato figures. So we would use the tongue to start a slurred phrase or a legato phrase. So it's possible for the saxophone to play very short, detached sounds and very smooth, flowing sounds. Your whole body becomes part of the instrument. Your mouth, your oral cavity, and your throat will have an influence on the sound you create. And advanced players learn how to manipulate these parameters to give different timbres and different qualities to the sound. See if I can demonstrate. If I play a G, just 3 notes on, I'm going to be quite relaxed. Tighten up and put a bit more energy in there. You see how I can start to manipulate the sound of that note. Now, the attraction for many people who take up the saxophone is the fact that you can play many different styles of music on it. It first became popular with military bands as it was a good instrument to play outside. It was slow to be taken up in classical music, and it's still not a permanent member of the orchestra today. But the jazz musicians of the early 20th century took a great interest in it, and it soon became popular in the big bands of the day, and from there into rock and roll and the popular music of our times. But the most flexible aspect of the saxophone that enables it to play in these different styles is, of course, the mouthpiece that can be made from plastic or hard rubber or metal or even glass crystal. And typically, whilst you can play any style on any mouthpiece, certain mouthpieces lend themselves to certain styles of music. So a hard rubber mouthpiece like this one, with not too big a gap between the reed and the mouthpiece, we call that the opening, the tip opening. That's another variable on mouthpieces. The length of what we call the lay, the distance that actually travels before the reed is actually in contact with the mouthpiece. All these things are variable and will lend themselves to different styles. So selecting the right mouthpiece for the style of music is really important. This mouthpiece you would consider I've got on here would be considered more of a classical mouthpiece. But if I change that for my metal mouthpiece, and most professional players, if they're playing in different styles, will use different mouthpieces for the different styles. So here now we have the metal mouthpiece on. And straight away you can hear a difference in the quality of sound. We'd describe that as being more edgy. So choosing the right mouthpiece, the right reed, on the right saxophone for you, the most important things. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this brief introduction to the saxophone. Good luck and thanks for watching.